Hey everybody, we are live right now, and welcome to another show with Home Slots Fun. I do know that the time is incorrect, but thank you for bearing with us. Are you able to hear and see?
Yeah, I'm good now. Sorry, I had a YouTube thing going.
Totally understandable. And also, hey, Tom Snyder, nice to see you. And what is up?
Hey Tom, how you doing?
And also,
I see you're in there early.
yes, and thank you, Tom, for becoming a new channel member. Woo! Heck yeah!
All right, awesome.
Yes.
You need way more than that.
Oh yeah. So as we wait for people to come on in, I'm wondering I'm like wondering, where do you get your Willy Wonka machine that I see going off in the background?
I actually have 2 copies of this machine. I've got a duplicate strips, game cards, and dongle. And they're very difficult to come by. You kind of just have to know the right people and jump on it quick because they go fast. Long story short, the way I got it originally was somebody on New Life Games posted it. And because it's a licensed game, you can't really come out and say what it is. But he kind of alluded. He's like, I have some very rare BB2 games if you're interested. And so I messaged him. I'm like, what do you got? And he says, well, I have Wonka. I'm like, I'll take it. I don't care what the price is, because it was expensive. I'm not going to say how much it is because I don't want to like reveal pricing of that type of stuff. But it was pricey to get.
Wow.
Mostly because the dongles, which are the licensed dongles, they're little USB sticks, can't be duplicated. So because of that, you have to have the original. And these machines were supposed to be destroyed whenever they left the casino floor. And so I can just imagine a big dumpster just filled with all these old slot machines that people just threw away. It's very depressing. But anyway, it's a lot easier to get the smaller things out. You know, it's kind of hard to sneak like this Lord of the Rings, the whole thing out the back door. So that's even more rare. But
yeah.
Wonka's fun. I love it. It's probably one of my favorite of the BB2 games. It's one of the few games that my wife actually plays, so that means it's a winner, right?
It is, and also huge shout out to the very talented dumpster divers to get us all these really good games.
That's true. Yeah, I can envision like I wish I knew some kind of slot tech that still worked at a casino, and he could give me the tip when they're going to be throwing these things in the dumpster. So go,
yes,
rent a U-Haul and drive to Vegas and go pick all this stuff up.
Yep. I want to do the ultimate. I want to do the ultimate U-Haul road trip, where I go to the dumpster and I started picking up, and like I just go in the dumpster head first. Then I'll start popping open the slot machine cabinet doors with all the keys I have. Get in there, get all the game cards and bluebirds, get every little thing I can get out and run.
Yeah, I do the same thing, and I don't even care if it's junk. Doesn't matter.
Same.
It's these things are just not in casinos anymore. I mean, there still exists. There's some casinos that still have them, of course, but they're becoming more and more rare. And I actually think these are more exciting than some of the newer ones that I've seen. I'd much rather play these. This was what a great era with the Willy Wonka, the Lord of the Rings, Godfather had one. There was Flintstones, which I have that one as well, and then the Wizard of Oz. I'm trying to collect all of them, and the only one I'm missing is the Godfather, which is pretty almost. I got a quote on it once, and it was $8,500, and I'm not doing that. That's way too much.
Yep.
That's crazy money. So that's not happening. But that's who knows? The price will come down eventually. Somebody will not want to hold on to it anymore, and maybe I can grab it and have a complete collection of these BB2 premium games. But I don't know. It's kind of I started out in the IGT space. All I wanted was top dollar pinball, and then I saw that these BB2 games were starting to become available in the marketplace, and I'm like, I got to get these because they're way more exciting. They're fun. The bonuses are fun. It's a lot of fun to play. I don't know. The sound's good. Everything's good about them.
Blue Ball 2s and Blue Ball games, they really hit the mark because they don't use the generic sounds and they don't use the generic symbols. Instead, each game is so unique, so different. That's why I absolutely love the Blue Ball games and really want to get into the Blue Ball 2 era.
I didn't even think about that, Simon, but you're right. Like, all the strips for each game is completely different. They don't reuse, like the same, sevens and cherries and triple bars and double bars. And even if they do use those, they put different graphics on them to make them look different. So yeah, that each machine and game is a complete, work of art. And from someone from an art background, I totally get why you would want to go for that instead of the generic IGT stuff. Makes sense.
Thanks, and also I do want to say hi to Kristen Liu and Emily Emerson and Holly Emerson. So I do know that, yeah. So I'm wondering like, yeah. So I do know that we should definitely start getting into like the meat of tonight's show. Like, why is it so dangerous to chase grand jackpots or bonuses?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of touched on this last week, but we can go into more detail here. And Simon, you shared a story with me about a month ago, which was your thumbnail, which is, I think it was, what was it? It was a grandmother that was trying to chase the grand, and she's like, "I'm not leaving till I get it." And then the son was like, "I'm just gonna cry, because I can't pull her away from the machine," or something like that.
All right, so that was like, so I did hear a story. It was like, I can't remember which Facebook group or where I heard it from. It was about it was about like a mother and a son. They were in the casino, and the mother kept putting in $100 bills into the machine. The next thing you know, like what happened was that the son came up and said, "Mom, you need to leave the machine. You need to leave the machine. Please just leave. Please just leave. You need to go." But his mom kept putting in $100 bills. The next thing you know, all of a sudden the mom's like, "No, I'm going to get the grand. I promise I am going to get the grand. I'm going to get the grand. Look, it's just right there. It's about to hit." I keep feeding this machine, and I just gotta keep feeding this machine. I am going to get the grand. And her son just began to cry right there.
Yeah. I mean, more and more games now are putting progressives in, even if they're like really small, like $10, all the way up to the grand, of course. And I guess that's alluring to people because, what you want to do is it's more exciting than the base game, because the base game is always just a certain amount. And, you have these rolling progressives that, go up by a certain amount, and it's exciting to win a bunch all at once. But, those progressives, especially the top ones, are excruciatingly hard to get. And the general rule is, the number of multiplication it is your bet, the harder it is to get. So if it's $1 machine, you're betting $1, and the progressive is at 5,000, that'll be easier to hit than if it's at $1 and the progressive is at 55,000. So you just kind of have to keep that in mind. The higher the jackpot is away from your bet, the more difficult it is to get. And it's tempting because you think, oh, it's got to hit soon, because I've put let's say it's a $5,000 progressive, and I've put 3,000 in it, so it's got to hit by the time I put 5,000 in, right? No, definitely not. And you don't know when it's going to hit. Those are very difficult to get the higher they go. And that's just, it's dangerous to chase those. The way that I always feel the best way to approach a machine is, it's perfectly okay to play a machine that has a progressive, but don't shoot for it. Just be really excited if it happens. Play because the game is fun, and you have wins that come in, trickle in. Maybe you win $100 after putting 50 in, stuff like that. So don't play a machine specifically for trying to get the top progressive. At least, well, let me back that up a little bit. That's, people played mega bucks because you want that $10 million progressive. And you can imagine a $3 bet must be very difficult to get $10 million. That the mega bucks happens very rarely. It doesn't happen once a year. Sometimes it happens every 2 to 3 years. It's very hard to get. But people play that machine because they're trying to get the progressive. But what I'm trying to say is, don't play it until you feel like you're going to get the progressive. Be surprised when it does happen. So, and Swole John says, so lower the progressive, the better a chance. Absolutely. So, if it's $1 machine and you have, like dancing drums, where you pick the 3 and you always end up with like the mini or the minor. It's like, why is it always those 2? Well, it's because those are the lower amounts. It's heavily weighted, to give you the lower amounts compared to the higher amounts. It's not random in the sense that, it's just going to, let's say you got the dancing drums, pick 3 bonus, it already knows before you even touch the screen which progressive it's going to give you. And so it's already determined that it's already most likely going to give you some of the smaller amounts. It's not a random, because there's 5 progressives, it's a 1 out of 5 chance to hit the grand. It's not like that. It's heavily weighted towards the bottom amounts. It's the same for Wheel of Fortune. You see the wheel on the top, you see the 1,000 credits, and then you see a bunch of like 20s and 30s and 35s. And it always lands on those, it seems like. Every time you spin, it lands on 30, 35, 25. It's just because it's heavily weighted towards those amounts. It's more difficult to get the higher amounts, and it's the same for progressives. So good question, though. I mean, that's something to clear up for sure.
That's some really good insight. Just the fact that the mini jackpots are predetermined, and the fact that that giant pot that dancing drum pop dumps stuff out. It's actually predetermined, because I think I know what you're saying on the earlier episode, that how the machine does not show you the choices, or you can see what you could have picked afterwards, unless you're playing Elvira. That does it for the illusion, but dance drums you can't see nothing. That means it's predetermined.
That's right. Yeah. So we did mention that before, and so that's a good way to tell, if a machine is predetermined or not. Is that after you pick your 3, does it flip everything over and show you what the options are? If it does, then you were in full control over what was going to happen. To my knowledge, just watching YouTube, I've only seen a couple of progressive games. One was a Wheel of Fortune that was very short-lived in the casinos, because I only saw a couple of videos on it. But there was a progressive bonus on that where they gave you like 60 things to choose from, and you had to pick like 3. After you picked those 3, it actually did flip everything over to show you. And some of those, one of those was the top progressive. But they gave you 60 things to choose from, so it's already very difficult to pick the 3 top ones. But most of the time, it's already predetermined, and that's the way is if it flips it over at the end.
Yes, and also speaking of that, that is why on the game Village People Party, there are so many party pooples, and on Jackpot Party there's so many party pooples. Just make sure that you don't get the entire screen of goodies.
That's right. Yeah. I'm just now thinking of another one, Pharaohs Fortune. Same thing when you're picking the little bonuses at the end. After you pick the start free spins, it flips everything over so you can see where everything else was. So that one, you're in full control also. That one's not predetermined. But that's the tried and true way to know if something's predetermined or not. I'm thinking of another one, The Walking Dead, the one with the big screen, like big curved screen. I think the last one they did, where you pick, 3 of the little, canisters or whatever, and it breaks the glass and it shows you mini or major or whatever. It doesn't show you what it is at the end after you pick the 3, so it's predetermined. It already decided which one it's going to give you. But when it moves over and it takes you to the free games to pick the free games, and you click on the free games, it shows you what all the other ones were. That one wasn't predetermined. So that's the best way that you can know whether you have any control over what's going to be done, basically.
Yes, and also another one is Cleopatra. I definitely do want to address Waitress's statement, but Susan does say Wicked Wheel flips them all over.
I'm not familiar with that one, but yeah, if it flips them all over, then you're in full control.
I know it's kind of random, but I do think that Wicked Wheel is associated. It's like the bonus game for hot stuff, which is an Elvira game. And I didn't like hearing anything from you that Elvira is infamous for making fake for making fake flip from the ovals. Where instead where you think you're going, where you think it's going, where you flip from the oval, and what you do is to put the grand jackpot right next to the 3 grand jackpot options right next to where you pick your minis, and in the pay table it says the choice that the jackpot was predetermined, but the reveal was for entertainment purposes oval, and guess what page it is on? Page 49 out of 50 on the
table. They don't want you to read it, yeah.
They don't want you to read nada.
I'm surprised they put it at all in there. I mean, that's crazy.
It is. And it just says that it's also saying, I played Lightning Link with a maxed out major of 10K playing 10-cent denominations, 5-cent bets, $300 in the game. I accidentally hit max bet and I landed that major.
What a lucky night. Yeah, that's crazy. I have heard, one thing that I have heard is that, you know, the higher the bet, the more likely you're going to hit the progressives. And the only way that I know that that's true is if it's written anywhere in the game rules or on the actual pay table information. If it's not written there, then I don't think that's true. So just be careful, you know, with stuff like that. I have seen both. You know, some of the games on my G23 will say that that if you bet higher, the more likely you're going to get a bonus, or the more likely you're going to get progressive. If it says that, then take advantage of it and play max bet if you can afford to do it, so you can get the bonus faster as well as the progressive. But again, you know, the one thing I want to say about that, and I said it last week, you know, they can say that playing max bet gives you a better chance, but it could be a 0.01% chance better, and then they can put that on there and be legally okay. So, you know, yeah, it's a better chance, but maybe a very, very small better chance. You never know. So,
and just does want to add, the guy next to me said that the night before, some guy dropped $10,000 chasing that $10,000 major. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's insane. Never chase progressives on purpose. Like, be happy if you get it, but don't play the machine and keep feeding it thinking you're going to hit the progressive because you put all this money into it. It's so easy to think like that when you play slot machines, and not just for progressives, but for anything else. You know, you have a bad losing streak and you keep putting money in because you feel like you're going to at least get your money back, because it's a 95% payback, which means for every dollar I put in, I'm supposed to get 95 cents back. That's over a very, very long time. And so that is not in your individual session. So don't bank on that. It's not always what happens. I like to tell this story. I think we mentioned it early on, but over Christmas break, I had some people over and we had like a slot contest on all these machines in here. I think I had 5 or 6, and everybody started with $1,000, and we just rotated around and everybody played every machine for 10 minutes. And then whoever ended up at the, you know, with the most at the end was the winner. All these machines are set at the maximum payback between 95 and 98%. And not one of us was over $1,000. I think I was the winner, and they called me a cheater because I own all these machines. But I think I ended up with like $685 out of $1,000. And these machines are all set at max. So, I mean, you should never just keep playing a machine thinking that a big win is just around the corner. It could be, but there's no tell, or there's no way to know that is the case. And it's certainly not because you've put a lot of money into it. You know, just like you were saying, like, you know, this guy put 10,000 in, you know, and he finally leaves the machine. It's like, oh man, it's due. I better sit down and play it now. It's like, that's a scary way of thinking about, you know, going after progressive, because you could put 10,000 in and not get it either. Or you could put put $15 in and hit it on the first spin. I mean, it could happen. But, you know, the thing is that you don't know, and there's no tell, and there's no way to know when it's going to hit. You should just, you know, you should realize that the top jackpots and the top progressives are always the hardest to hit, and some will take very long time before they pay out.
Very true. And it's like, and I do want to read some things in the chat. Swollen Jones says, I've seen the bowl of coins and dancing drums that was full. and that bonus will not budge. Then Rainford Vegas says, such a timely subject. We have to be careful chasing any win. And then Swollen John also adds, is there any truth to the 5-pole method?
Okay, let me take one of those at a time. So the bowl of coins, it's all an illusion, guys. Like it's just because it's full, it could be full all night. It's just an illusion. Like it's making you feel like it's getting close because it's starting to burst. That's just what they program in. And, it's a way, it's a psychology to think that, oh, it's very close, I should keep playing it because it's about to burst. It could sit full for weeks. You just don't know. It's completely random on when that actually pops, and you get to pick, your 3 to pick a progressive. So don't fall for that. And a lot of games are doing that now. I saw a video the other day. There's a new Monopoly game out that does the exact same thing, where it's like this money bank keeps building in the middle, and it's all the way to the top, and money's like falling off of it. So you think like, oh man, it's about to hit. It doesn't matter. It could hit right after it just got through paying, or it could hit weeks later. It's just an illusion. And yeah, what was the other one? Rain's World, such a timely subject. We have to be careful chasing any win. Yeah, that's the kind of the story of the topic tonight. It's just, chasing is where you get into trouble, and it's easy to fall into, right? Like it's slot machines are a lot of fun, but they can be dangerous, especially if you just keep feeding money in because you feel a big win is coming. That's how they get it. That's how they get you to keep playing, by giving you those near misses or giving you the bonus symbol very close. And, it's got to be coming around soon. No, it doesn't. None of that matters. Like it's all predetermined and built in a way that, there is the RNG. And if you want to go to last week's episode, if you want to hear about that, but, all of that stuff is designed to just keep you playing. It feeds right into your brain. That's how people that, can't stop fall into a lot of trouble, because it's just easy to kind of feel that way, that a win is just around the corner. I'm going to just keep chasing it. I at least want to get my money back. Maybe I should raise my bet. Maybe I should go to the high limit room and get my money back. You have to be careful, like, because that's how they get you. That's what slot machines do. 5-pull method. I know who's saying that. I'm not going to mention the name, but no, there's no truth to that. It's the reason it seems like it makes sense. And I've heard what he said, that the 5-pull method, works in 1 in 4 casinos. I mean, just try to break that down and think about it for a minute. Machines are always programmed to give you wins every now and then. It's just the way it is. Like if you sat down in a machine and it never gave you a win at all, nobody would ever play that machine. So they're designed to give you wins over time, but they're usually small wins. Cherries, double cherries, mixed bars, those are the things that you see often. Or even, on video slots, just small wins that are less than your bet back, that kind of stuff. It's just to keep you playing, keep your bankroll going, just in the hopes that you'll get a bigger win and cash out ahead from what you started with. But the machines are not purposely programmed to give you a win after 5 spins or not. It's all built in the programming. There's a random number generator, and that looks up the wins in the pay table, and it's based on the percentage payback to which pay table it uses. That's it. There's no methods to it. You just got to get lucky. You got to push the button at the right time and just hope for the best.
That is really well said. I do want to add to what you were saying. I saw somebody. I saw somebody who I went to the casino with, and they said, like, I'll try that 5-pound method because the machine wants to give you a taste of winning. They want to and the friend was, and that person was like, well, like that 5-pound method, what they're going to be doing is that you can sit down at that machine. That machine wants to just give you like a win to keep you playing. And that friend, you know what happened? Max bet that thingy, busted through $100 within 5 spins. And also, I just actually found that extremely tragic to watch.
Yeah, I think, just to follow up on that, this is what, bothers me the most, and why Simon and I decided to start this is because, we're not in it for the money. We're not in it to, to try to entice people to go to the casino and try certain things. You know, I can just speak to what I know about these machines, and I can tell you that there's no methods to trick the machine or learn patterns or anything that gives you an edge. Slot machines are not built for the purpose of getting patrons an edge. They're not. They're the one machine that the casinos always have 85, 90% of their floor filled with because of that reason. You know, they have to provide the blackjack and the craps and all those tables. You know, those are the ones where you have a player edge because your knowledge of the game increases your odds of winning. And the payback percentage on those is closer to 100% or sometimes even over. But slot machines are dumb in the sense that they can't be fooled. You can't look for patterns. You can't, you know, I've heard other things, you know, always play the one that's at the end of the aisle, one's by the bathroom, one's at the front of the front of the room. I mean, all that stuff is just, you know, and it may happen where it just seems like that one at the end of the aisle just seems to be paying more. Well, I believe you if you played that machine for 1,000,000 spins, and then I would believe you. But nobody sits there and plays it for 1,000,000 spins, so you can't really tell. There are no patterns. So you guys just need to be really careful with, you know, hearing that information and spending your money in a casino without doing your own research first. Don't just trust me. Just do a general Google search and look for what most people are saying, and you will learn what the truth is. And I don't like that there's some YouTubers out there that are putting out bad information, and especially if they charge for it. I mean, you have to really sit back and think about what are their motives there. You know, if they really did have a method to slot machines, why are they sharing it with other people, and why aren't they just in the casino 24/7? You know, you just have to sit back and think about those things and just be careful with what you hear. I'm going to tell you what I know. If I don't know it, I'm going to say I don't know it and go from there. But I'm not going to say, you know, go to the machine, put $100 in, and I promise that you'll get a win within 5 spins. You know, that's just not the way they work.
And also, before I forget, I'm not sure if this is true or not, but I do remember hearing somebody say that the reason why, another person say the reason why the machines by the aisles and by the bathrooms, they seem to pay out more is because it seems like that machine gets more played through. So as you walk past, you always see somebody playing on it, and because of the frequency, it makes that illusion. That would just dawn on me.
Yeah, that's true. And another YouTuber said this yesterday, and I actually agree with what he said. Is, you know, it's, you know, these, unless you're at the machines watching it 24/7, you're not going to really know what is happening to that machine. You know, most people go to the casino and they play for a couple hours and then leave, or maybe a day, or, you know, 3 or 4 days. But nobody is camping out in the casino for 24/7 sitting at a machine and being able to tell what the payback percentage is. It's just, you know, you just don't know. You're not there all the time. It's just an illusion. Sometimes machines are, you know, they seem to be paying a lot, and that doesn't mean that it's going to start becoming dead or stop paying a lot. It's a random cycle that these machines go through over millions of spins. And we talked about this last week, but, you know, I have machines in here that I've had powered on for example, this Lord of the Rings over here. It's been played 19,500 times. But that's before I even got it. I haven't played that much on it, but 19,500 times. It's set at 90% payback, and it's currently at 63%. So it's not even close to the payback percentage, and it's been 19,000 spins. You know, it's got a long way to go, and so there's going to be ups and downs, but you can't plan when it's going to happen. You don't know when it's going to happen. It could seem like a machine is hot. You've heard that a lot. Boy, this machine's hot. I better not leave it. Yeah, maybe it is, but that doesn't mean that it's going to change. You know, it could continue to pay or it can continue to lose. You know, the thing is, you just don't know. There's no patterns to tell you.
Also, like for these machines, I know. 1 second, I do know it's kind of random, but did you manage to get the screen fixed on Lord of the Rings?
I did. I completely swapped out. I didn't do a video of it. I'm sorry, but I completely swapped out the screen and I cleaned up the reels. And I actually had a bad reel on number 3 there, so I replaced that. And so yeah, it's a brand new screen. It's very bright, looks really good. So yeah, got that fixed. I hate when things break down. I'm a perfectionist.
You got such a stunning collection of machines, and also like
yeah, it's gotten crazier over the years. I started out very small with just a couple of S2000s, and what I ended up doing was just um, just trading up, but also like buying ones that are broken and then fixing them and then selling them for a profit. And I just kept doing that over and over and over again. And over the last 2 or 3 years of doing that, I've been able to just, step up my game, getting things that are a little bit harder to find and a little bit more expensive. I joke that this is my retirement in here. I have 5 machines that are worth a lot of money. So if I ever need money, I'll just sell it all, and there we go. But it's an itch. You have to scratch it, and you have to just buy with what you can afford. And if you become good at fixing them and repairing them, and the tech support afterwards, that's another thing that I always do on anything that I sell. Is it's really important that people don't want to get stuck with a machine that they can't call anybody or email somebody and say, how do I fix this? Because these machines they break. They're old. They're not brand new machines. These were built, in the early mid 2000s, 2010, around that era. They start to go bad after a while, and you need parts, and you need the advice to fix them. And that's just the nature of owning a machine. But that's just something I've been working towards, and that way I can afford the machines that I've always wanted. I didn't think I'd ever have these in my game room, but here we are.
And also, I know it's kind of jumping around.
That's all right.
Kind of jumping. I do know I'm kind of jumping around, but going back to the idea of the drum being super full, on my last live stream at the casino, I got up from Buffalo. Somebody said play the bag game. The game with the 3 bags on the top that fell up. I was like, all right, bag game. And I thought I plopped down. And the bags were this tiny. There was nothing stuck in them bags. And I sat down. I started slamming that spin button to keep things going. Do my 36-cent bets. And all of a sudden, bam! All 3 bags out of absolutely nowhere spun. I was like, Oh my gosh, that is extremely rare. And the bags were so tiny. That is so random.
Yeah, you got lucky. That's the way it works. That's good. Yes.
And also, Swallow Jones says, seems off when you see group polls and you have all these people pitching money and you can't even push the button.
There's a reason for that, because if there's any hand pay or jackpot or anything, they always go off of who hit the button. And so I think, for tax purposes and the reason of just keeping things organized and making sure that people don't, run away with the money in the group pool, I actually would prefer the person that's hosting the group pool to be the one pressing the button, because, that way you have full, you've already trusted that person with your money. Do you trust somebody that you've never met before that's part of it to be the one that gets the jackpot? Probably not. I'd rather get, the person that's running the group pool to get it. So that's the reason for it. And they're very strict on that. I mean, I've heard stories where like husband and wife are pushing it and they have an argument, and the wife is the one who pushed the button and got the top jackpot, and she wouldn't share it with them, and they couldn't do anything. And she's the one who pushed the button. His card was in the machine, but she's the one that pushed the button. And that's what.
All right, so home slots fun froze. So we shall sing Let It Go to unfree them. Let it go, let it go. The cold doesn't bother us. And while we are waiting, Rain Road says pre-pandemic, I was in the group poll. I hit the button for my spins. What's the big deal? Sorry if I kind of came off. Sorry if I kind of came off rude, but Add to stream. Add to stream. Alright, we got 2 home stocks fans.
Hold on a second, Simon.
Alright.
Okay, we're good now.
Alright, there's like 3 of us. But Rainford was saying pre-COVID, I was in the group poll. I hit the buttons for my spins. What is the big deal?
Yeah, I think you should. If you're hosting the group poll, you should be the one to hit the button. You know, people trust you with their money, and you're going to be the one splitting it up at the end. It's organized. I can't even imagine like having 30 people in a group pool and everybody's pushing the button. Yikes! What a nightmare if you get multiple jackpots and stuff like that to track, and who's going to pay the taxes, and it's just a mess. Like I think it's the person that's running it should do it.
That and when I think about what you said, it actually really keeps everything very organized, and also like Gordy Thoughts is asking, I do know that this could be a subject for a different episode, but what are your thoughts on online casinos like Chumbo Casino?
Yeah, I had somebody that I've actually subscribed to who I asked him about it because I've heard about it, but it never seemed real to me, and it seemed kind of dangerous. And I looked into it, and they're kind of like skirting, the laws by offering sweepstakes, and it's based in Malaysia. It's not in the U.S. They accept credit cards. These are all red flags for me. I'm sure it's legit. I'm sure people get payouts, and I'm sure people win on there, but you have to be careful for a couple of reasons. One, it's based offshore. There's no regulations. You don't know what they're doing. They could change the payback percentage at any time. I have a theory that what they do is they set the payback to be really high until they become very popular and get a lot of people hooked on it, and then they start to lower the payback percentage and start taking in all the money. Nothing stops them from doing that. Whereas land-based casinos that are owned and operated by a state-run, gaming commission can't pull stuff like that. So the only online casinos I would trust are ones that are run by properties that have land-based casinos like Caesars or Harrah's. I don't know which ones exist. I think Caesars has one, but again, you have to be in a state. You have to reside in that state. Excuse me. You have to reside in that state to be able to play. Those are the ones that I would trust. I wouldn't trust any other. Besides online casino gaming, I think it's too dangerous. It's too easy to put money in, and they have delays on cashing your money out, which gets you to want to go back and click the cancel and just keep playing it. I think it's probably more exciting to actually go into a casino, and probably easier to money manage as well. But yeah, I wouldn't trust it. I just personally would not trust it. You don't know what they're up to.
That is a really good call, and I also do remember seeing in the video. I'm like kind of fuzzy on the details, but I do remember seeing in the video where they were talking, right? Somebody was talking about somebody talking about how like when somebody tried cashing out like a jackpot, they couldn't cash out and their account was banned. Then in the same video, they showcased a picture of the Chumbo Casino headquarters, which were like really, which appeared to be a tiny apartment.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I mean that's the best thing you can probably do is go to their terms of service page and read the whole thing, because I bet there is some stuff in there that is in their favor to kind of rule against you on cashing out and things like that. If you ever wanted to try it, what I would do personally is wager a very small amount, like just put in $20, play once, and then cash out and test the process. Before you start pumping a ton of money in and then hope for the best, because that's nerve-wracking, and they may find some kind of way to block you or ban you, or you had a typo on your name or address, so we're not allowed to pay your winnings. I mean, they could do stuff like that. It's not regulated. So, you just have to be careful. I hope you do get your payout. I've heard people do, so I wouldn't worry too much. But I would say if you do get your payout, close your account and don't do it again because you never, you just don't know when things are going to change with them. Like I said before, I fully expect that they could become more and more popular and then start janking with things to make gameplay worse, or your odds are decreasing because they're making more money and they've got everybody hooked. Everybody's got some kind of jackpot or payout, so they think, wow, this is legit, I'm going to keep playing. I mean, these are things that they could do. I'm not saying they do, but they could, because it's not regulated. So
that is a very good call. And I find, and for me personally, I do not feel comfortable putting any money into a sweepstakes casino from my perspective, from like what I've heard in the past, and from like what you're saying. I do want to be very careful, especially I do want to be very careful treading these waters. And if I did decide to do that, that's some really strong advice to put in like a little bit of money, test the water, see what happens, and just go very carefully and just very slowly. And Rainford Vegas Slots does say they take time to pay out, hoping you keep on playing.
Yeah, as my wife can probably remember, back when online gaming was legal everywhere. I think it was 2003 or so. I remember playing on an online casino, and I won a couple thousand on blackjack, and I cashed out, but they were taking forever, so I would cancel it and play some more, and then cash out, and then cancel it and play some more until I had nothing left. And that's at that point, that's when I decided that even though it's still legal, I'm not ever doing that again, because they make it too dangerous, for you to just cancel your payout and keep playing. That's what they want. They want you to keep playing. That's what all casinos want. But it's even easier when you're on your couch in your pajamas, than when you're in a casino and you got to leave at some point, So, that's just something just to be careful. I mean, if you want to do it, that's fine. Because sometimes that may be your only option. You don't have any land-based casinos anywhere around you. Just be careful and start small and test the waters, as Simon says, and as Simon says to test the waters. So make sure you
guys says test the waters.
That's right.
And Rainford does bring up a good point about what about your banking and personal information with hackers? That is scary at best.
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing too. I mean, this is all going to Malaysia. You don't know what goes on there. Again, it's not regulated. There's no compliancy there. Like, for example, in the United States, if you're storing banking information, you have to be PCI compliant, which is a lengthy process that you have to go through if you're storing any kind of sensitive information like that in a database somewhere. Malaysia may not have that rule. So it could be in just a plain text, easy to read spreadsheet. I mean, you just don't know. And because of that, hackers could get into it and get all your information. So I'm not here to scare anybody, because I don't know if that's happening. The point I'm just trying to make is that it's not regulated. And if you're going to spend money gambling, I think you want to be in the safest possible situation that you can be in. And that is a land-based casino that is owned and operated by some kind of either state-run, tribal is okay. They're not the best, but they still have a reputation to withhold. And I don't think Chumba Casino or any of these other ones that are based overseas are going to last. I can't see it lasting, either with regulation that comes down from our government, or they go out of business, or there's some kind of big fraud case. I mean, those are the things you have to worry about. So why would you want to put your money inside of that? It seems like a very scary situation for me.
Swollen John does want to I know it's kind of a deviation from the subject, but Swollen John is asking, are Indian casinos tighter than Vegas casinos?
Well, you're on a roll, Soul John. I think thanks for coming. Like, this is your show, basically. We don't know. That's the thing. Vegas casinos are run by the Nevada State Commission, Gaming Commission, and they are by law required to post their return to player statistics, as well as payback percentages for each of the different denominations that they have on slot machines. So you can look that up. It's publicly available. You can even request a more detailed spreadsheet from the Gaming Commission itself. Tribal casinos is the exact opposite of that. They don't publish anything. They don't tell you what their payback percentages are. Their return to player stats, and plus a lot of them have the Class 2 gaming machines. And this could be another topic, but those are machines that are the bingo machines, and those are a little bit scarier to play, just because of the mechanics of it. I'm not going to get into it because I can talk 20 minutes on just that alone, but maybe a future topic. But
Yes.
if my suggestion has always been is if you have a choice between a state-run gaming institution and a Indian casino or tribal casino, go to the state-run, because you at least know it's heavily regulated and they're very open and public about it because they have to be. Now, one other thing, and I've said this before, but even though the Indian casinos or tribal casinos don't post their stats, they still have to keep them at a reasonable level to keep people coming back. You got to understand, like, if they had it set at like 20%, and I mean, nobody would go there. Everybody would have horror stories about that casino and stop going. So they find some kind of amount that they can get away with that makes the most sense. And even when you're talking about 85%, if you think about a million spins, they're getting $150,000 if it's a dollar denomination. They're getting $150,000 off of that machine that they paid $4,000 for. So they're still making money at 85%. Believe me, they're making a ton of money. So, they want people to win because it keeps them coming back. So even though it's not generally a good idea to play at those ones because you don't know what they have them set at, they're still going to have it at a reasonable level. So I wouldn't be too worried about it.
All right.
Yeah.
That's like some really good perspective. And what you're saying about the casinos going, like if the casinos were to like be very ice cold, everybody would be like, all right, bye bye, we're just going out of town. And
Yeah.
sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, can you imagine like they spend hundreds of millions of dollars building these facilities, and they probably do not become profitable for a decade, and they want to get people coming in, and they have to pay out wins and get people excited and tell their friends, oh, I just won 3,000 on a penny machine at so and so casino. They want stories like that, and a lot of them post like the win, people holding up their their big checks and stuff. I mean, it's all marketing to get you to come there and prove that you can actually win there. If you can't win there, that's not going to happen. So,
and also I do want to add that on certain machines like my WMS Blue Bolt and my IGT S2000, the lowest payback percentage you can go to is around 84 to 85%, because they do not want the casinos to ruin the manufacturers do not want casinos to ruin the reputation of their machines, because if like enough casinos set their machines like 30%, people say, ew, I'm not playing that machine because that machine is tight and cold. And even if they see it in Vegas where that much higher, people still avoid that manufacturer's machine and name.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't ever think about that, Simon, but that makes sense to me, that they would, the base thing is that, each state has a regulation for what the minimum can be. And those machines are sent with what are called jurisdiction chips. And the jurisdiction chip basically says this machine is going to Nevada. And so it will not allow the machine to go below whatever the minimum payback percentage is for Nevada. And there are jurisdiction chips for Louisiana, there's for Mississippi, there's for Oklahoma, there are all these different places. And that's how they can control what the minimums and the maximums are set to. So, but yeah, you're right. I mean, if, a manufacturer comes out and it's notorious for never paying anything out, people will just avoid it. And the manufacturers then can't sell the machines to the casinos and they'll be out of business. So.
And also Casey Cat says, I seem to win near the bar areas where people are gathered out, always busy.
Yeah. there's no, I mean, there's no reason why that is the case. It's just, it's busy. You notice it because it's busy, and you see a lot of people putting money in and playing and winning and, that kind of thing. So there was other question from Kissy Cat I wanted to address, and that's the game rooms in Texas. I do actually want to talk about this for like 5 minutes because I am in Texas. I know all about these, believe me. And I do want to give everybody a caution and a warning about this. Slot machines are illegal in Texas. If you go into a gas station and you go into some kind of, I've seen everything. There are 2 here in town that I've driven by, and they say that they're computer repair shops, but then they have like the 777s banner up there. And it's not a computer repair shop. It's an illegal gaming center. And the way that they're trying to skirt around the law is, the law actually allows you to have machines, but they can do a maximum payback of $5, and the $5 can only be in store credit. So you think, wow, what slot machine would they put in there? Well, they call them 8-liners. They're kind of old looking video, type machines. Those are legal if they pay a maximum of $5 in store credit. But that's not what's going on here in Texas. They are actually putting real slot machines in game rooms, and people are coming in and playing. The reason I know this is because I've had at least 3 or 4 people come to try to buy machines off of me that are running game rooms, and I won't get into that. I tell them, I'm sorry, I can't, I can't legally do it. You shouldn't have told me what these machines were for. If you said it was for your house, I would have gladly sold you a machine, and then after that, whatever. But you come in here and say, hey, I want to put these in a game room. How do I set them up? I don't want to get into that because they're illegal. They always ask for you to set it at the very lowest payback percentage possible. They want to know what the top jackpots are because they're worried they're not going to be able to pay them out. I mean, these are all shady things, and they're not regulated by anything. It's like doing drugs. You can't call the cops if something happens, because they'll get shut down. So it's just, if you see that in Texas, do not put your money in any of those machines, because there is nothing that regulates it at all. There's nobody you can call if they refuse to pay you out. There's nobody they can call. There's nobody that can be on your side. That's it. And you think, well, I'll get them shut down. Well, you'll shut them down, and then they'll just move to another location and open again. That's what they do. Because the fines and penalties here are very minimal. It's a slap on the wrist to them compared to how much money they're bringing in from these illegal machines. So my word of caution is just avoid those in Texas. If you see them, don't be enticed to sit down and play it, because they're not legal. They're not regulated. Go to Oklahoma. Go to Louisiana. Those are the 2 closest, I guess, to Texas. And, go gamble someplace safe. I understand it's convenient. They're right down the road, but you just you can't trust those people. You just can't do it.
And also,
all right, rant over.
I do know it's kind of random too, but I not realized that they were buying up fall-on machines. I thought they were just like getting game software, putting some getting that software, gutting out the machine, plugging into like a computer monitor to make it actually look like a PC computer. Just like hide the fact that it's an actual slot machine, but it just like are really like purposing. But they're like just like I thought they were just like getting the machine, removing the camera and just like gutting out, and it's like reconfiguring it to make it look like a computer.
Yeah, it's out of control here. It really is, and I think it's just a matter of time before there's a big crackdown. I think it's going to go one or 2 ways. One, they're going to make slot machines legal. They're going to allow casinos in Texas. Or 2, which will put all of the game rooms out of business. Or 2, there's going to be some big crackdown where the fines are going to increase or the penalties are going to increase. I talked to a game room guy, actually at great length, because I wanted to know like what is actually happening. Why is he doing this? And he's like, look, I get busted every 2 months. They come in and they take the CPUs out of my machine and they break the glass, and I just go and buy all new machines. That's his penalty. That's all they do is they don't fine them. They don't put them in jail. It's not even a class B misdemeanor. It's nothing. And until that changes, they're going to keep popping up and keep taking people's money. So, I mean, that's why you need regulation. Like the reason, gaming commissions exist is to protect you more than the casino. And that's why it's really important to play slot machines at places where there's that oversight, because you cannot trust these people. I'm sure there are horror stories. I haven't heard any personally, but it's not worth the risk.
It's definitely, it's very disturbing what can go down, and it's like very crazy that all the authorities did was just like rip out the CPUs and just break the glass, but then they just like bring in new machines.
Yeah, you got to think you smash all my machines. Okay, I'm out 20,000. Well, I was making 50,000 a week.
Yep.
So big deal. And that's how these things start. That's how nefarious and illegal activity starts, when it's not regulated and the penalties are so small. I always joke that's why everybody speeds around here, because $70, big deal. I'm just going to speed. Well, if the speeding ticket was $2,000, you'd probably not speed. That's what happens when you don't regulate stuff and you don't have penalties that try to counteract the illegal activity. So.
Yep. Yeah, and also, like, I do know that getting up to the end of the hour. Is there any last questions or any last subjects that you wish to cover before we conclude this week's episode? We can definitely.
I'm just going to look through the chat here. Now everybody's talking about Texas. Our friend was a millionaire. She tried to bring it into Texas, greased all the politician palms that voted no. Oh, for casinos, yeah. I just don't see it happening. I know they talk about it every 4 years or so, but I don't know. There's something about Texas that I don't think that's going to happen. Legalize gambling in Texas. I don't know. Gosh, who knows with our government what could happen, but.
Oof.
And Scotty, you're right. Oklahoma and Louisiana would dry up. Yeah, they probably get. I know Oklahoma, right on the border there, probably just gets a ton of people from Dallas at the WinStar Casino, because it's, I don't know, what is it, like an hour or 2 hours from Dallas? Like, yeesh. Yeah, that would dry up pretty fast. All right, well, I guess we'll wrap it up. We'll pick another topic for next week. I know we have some good ideas here that came out of this one, but if you guys have any questions or comments or want a specific topic covered, leave a comment on the video or mention it in chat. I'll go back and look, and Simon will too, and we'll come up with what we'll talk about next week. And again, we're going to keep doing this every Monday, 7 p.m. Central Time, until we just get bored of it or run out of topics. But there's so much to talk about, and I'm here for you guys. And I hear kind of sift through all the wacky stuff that you see out there. So I appreciate your time. Hope everybody has a great week ahead and have a good weekend coming up. Weather's starting to improve. It's springtime. That's exciting. Allergy time. I'm about to scratch my eyes out of my face this morning. So that's the way it is here in Texas. So.
All right. See you, everybody. Have a great day.
Right.
And thank you so much, everybody, for all your support. Sorry if I don't get to say hi to you in chat. See you around. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.